And the first star from the Columbus Blue Jackets, Nash.
Future late. Huh? Future dreaming. You're all dreaming. Future late. You got it all arranged. All dream. You can dream all you want. It's all arranged. Depends what they offer in Columbus. Yep. They offer money. It won't be.
Something's wrong, cause my mind is fading. And everywhere I look, there's a dead end waiting. Temperatures dropping at the rotten oasis, stealing kisses from the leprous faces.
Fans are standing, and it's Matt Sundin to win for his new...
You said Matt Sundin to get a standing goal?
I knew he'd get a standing goal. I just knew it. I bet the farm and everything. They boo McCabe. He didn't want to leave. Every time he touched the puck, and he was traded. They boo him. Matt's left and wanted to leave, and he gets a standing ovation. Figure that one out. They did the same thing in Team Canada. We got Bobby Orr got booed on Team Canada, and Borgie Solomon, they give him a standing ovation, proving Canadians hate Canadians. Okay, let's go.
And I think that's enough said in terms of the fans of the ACC. Welcome to HockeyFansMail, February 24th, 2009. I will have to argue with Steve Kouleas yesterday. He was on the score on his Hardcore Hockey Talk saying that most Canadians choose Crosby over Ovechkin every time, and it's this thing that we have as Canadians, and we have to choose a Canadian. I don't know anybody on any hockey blog, any hockey forum, and every other radio show I've ever listened to, I don't know anyone that chooses Crosby over Ovechkin. I don't know who he's listening to, if it's the two guys on CBC on Saturday night or what, but virtually every Canadian I know from the time Ovechkin came into the league thought Ovechkin was better than Crosby. Let's get into it. Torts is the new coach of the New York Rangers. I like it. I think the New York Rangers are not necessarily underachieving, much like the Montreal Canadiens. This is a team that does not have a single bona fide superstar player, and they've been overhyped to be a contender and all of this stuff. You got Gomez, who's gotten 30 goals once in his career. I mean, the guy's been in the league for like well over 10 years. One time. Drury, I mean, he's a good hockey player, but he's a 70 at best point guy at his best years. So, good playoff guy, but let's face it, he was on a third line in Colorado. So, we're getting a little too excited about these guys. So, if the Rangers don't make the playoffs, personally, I'm not going to be surprised. Tortorella, is he enough to get them in? Maybe. He might be able to light a fire. He might be able to get more out of them than Rennie was. I think he's a very good coach. I can't believe a Stanley Cup winning coach was sitting for the last while, where all these other guys are coaching that haven't won anything. They're not that good of a team. They're like the Habs. The Habs and the Rangers don't have any superstars. When are people going to wake up and see this? They have none. Getting right to the trade talk. Talking about Bouwmeester, if it was me, in a perfect world, he goes to Edmonton. He's an Edmonton boy. He'd be perfect for Edmonton. You can imagine the power play with Surrey and Bouwmeester dropping bombs from the point. And what would they have to give up? I don't know. Drop me an email if you have any ideas. I do not put Jay Bouwmeester on the level of Scott Niedermayer. I do not put him on the level of Pronger or even Chara or Lidstrom or any of those guys. A guy like that's probably going to take a first-round pick along with a couple guys going the other way and maybe a prospect. Most likely so. The talks are that Calgary's really after him, but I don't know about that. I'd be surprised to see them start dismantling their team when they're leading the division. They're probably going to make a smaller deal for a smaller player, a little depth. There's rumors the Senators are going after a big Western Conference defenseman, possibly Chris Pronger. Again, I'd love to see Chris Pronger playing on a Canadian team in front of a packed house every night instead of down in Anaheim playing in front of 5,000–6,000 people. The only problem with Ottawa, though, is that the Ducks don't really want salary back. So if they go and they pick up a Pronger, they don't want to be taking $6.25 million back. They want to take closer to like $3 million back or $4 million at the most back, probably, right? Because they're trying to dump salary. That's the whole point of it. They'd like to get prospects back for a guy like Chris Pronger. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Ottawa doesn't have a whole lot in the kitty in terms of prospects right now. They have a few with Lee and some of these guys, but they don't really have too many. And so to be dishing off those guys for Pronger for a year, and there's no guarantee you're going to keep him, is a bit of a risk. But they did trade to get Mike Comrie and Chris Campoli. I like Chris Campoli, always like Chris Campoli. Good trade. They gave up San Jose's first pick. It's 30th, or it's probably going to be 30th or 29th overall, so I don't mind that trade at all. Comrie, to me, was a throw-in. There's still rumors that they're looking for an even bigger Western Conference defenseman. Getting to my video at the beginning of the show, and I know this is a Leafs trade, but it does, of course, involve other teams. That's why I'm going to keep on the Florida Panthers jersey. Who knows what Joe Bowen knows about anything, but he does talk to people in the higher-ups, and he's saying that Rick Nash is going to be a Toronto Maple Leaf. If you couple that in, what would the Leafs be giving back to Columbus? Now, to me, this is an off-season trade. He's got one more year, I think, on his deal next year, Rick Nash does, and then he's looking for the re-up. So they can't really, their talk is that they can't really afford the re-up. If this is true, if what Joe Bowen said at the beginning of the show is true, don't be surprised to see Kubina in the offseason or Caberlet in the offseason going the other way. Maybe somebody else. I know Columbus really likes Nick Antropov, and Columbus is in the playoffs. I don't know how they can afford to trade a guy like that when they're in the playoffs. I think this is an off-season deal, if it's even real. Who knows? So, Leafs lost to the Canucks. No surprises there. The Canucks are on a roll. Just to Canuck fans, I'm not going to jump at any bandwagons because, let's face it, they lost 8 in a row. Now they're one's 8 of 9. So, I mean, who knows? I'm happy to see this team competitive, but I'm also happy to see them lose. I want to drop all the way to last place, baby. I want Johnny Tavares in a Leaf uniform, so I don't care how many games they lose. Keep on losing. I don't know if it's going to happen. Unfortunately, he's probably going to end up in the island playing in front of 5,000 people, and nobody gives a crap. But I would like to see him in Canada. He doesn't even have to be a Leaf. I mean, Ottawa, if Ottawa could slip all the way down, imagine. But at the very least, the Leafs need a bottom 5 pick like they did last year. They got Shen. And all you Leaf fans out there that are saying, no, don't tank the season, don't tank the season. The season is gone. They're not making the playoffs. It's almost mathematically over already. Don't be excited about them winning games when all they're doing is just hanging around 9th, 10th, 11th place. If they're going to be there, they might as well be at the very bottom because you get a better pick. You have to draft franchise players. Next year, depending on who they keep, because I don't think they're going to trade everybody away like all the media guys do. I think they're going to trade a few people, and I think you're going to see Burke's big moves coming in the offseason. I don't think they're going to move Dominic Moore unless they can move Jason Blake because the chemistry is just too much, and anybody they put on that line gets points. It doesn't matter who they can put Stajan on it, they can put Hagman on it, they can put Grabowski on it. Everybody gets points playing with those two guys, so that you cannot screw around with because you're going to have Blake till he's 39 years old, so you got to keep Moore. And Moore knows that, so he's probably going to get paid quite a bit of money in the offseason if he stays. Now, I know Blake's playing well, but geez Louise, look at this one. Hey, Sundin gives him a shot. Blake gives him a shot, and he just takes off the screen. Watch this. Here's the shot. Whoop. Let me get out of here. Yeah, there he's gone. This Leafs team has been a competitive team all year. They're only 4 games below 500 with dismal goaltending and injuries to their defense. And the two guys that have been healthy and have played a ton of minutes and have really held this team in competitiveness in terms of play defensively have been Luke Schenn and Ian White, becoming big-time stalwarts, and they're young. I mean, Ian White isn't even 25 years old yet, folks. This is a young defenseman. Burke goes ahead and picks up 1 or 2 more guys in the offseason to get some offense, and if he goes ahead and gets Rick Nash, awesome trade. It'll completely change the complexion of this team. So that's your Hockey Fans Mail for February 24th, 2009. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.